Welcome to Neo Royal House of Pricey Cardboard. On today's episode of Commander Gameplay, we have a match with some very popular commanders. As always, thank you to the Patreons of this channel for supporting the content, and welcome to all our new subscribers. I hope you enjoy yourselves. First, Maxim will be playing Atraxa Super Friend. This deck is very well known in the Commander community. Max will be looking to drop a lot of planewalkers on the table, protect them, and try to ultimate them with Doubling Seasons, Deep Glow Skate, or just the proliferate from Atraxa. Next, Kelly will be playing Alela Artful Trickster. While not a new deck, Kelly changed the list quite a lot as the original build was too fragile to her taste. The new list contains a lot more flyers to use Alela's Anthem effect and a mix of the best enchantments and artifacts for the new game plan. There's a lot less equipment in the deck, but Blackblade Reforge and Sword of Feast and Famine are still there. Hugo will be playing Najeela the Blade Blossom. Hugo has been trying to make a fair deck with this commander for a while, but it's just so good. His new experiment is a list looking to force combat on all players and control it with different effects. A little like a Marisi list, but in 5 colors. Najeela can also give extra combat steps to the opponents, so this was in the original game plan. But I think he realized soon enough that the lifelink would be problematic. Finally, I will be playing my Sidisi Brood Tyrant deck, looking to self-mill myself into a bunch of creatures and flood the board with zombies or different triggers like Sir Conrad or the Scarab God. My opening hand contains Entomb, Reflecting Pool, Command Tower, Yavimaya Coast, Underground River, Overgrown Tomb, and a basic Swamp. Hugo's opening hand contains Goblin's Diplomat, Curse of Verbosity, Pierce Whim, Chromatic Lantern, Mirari's Wake, a Swamp, and a basic Mountain. Kelly's opening hand contains Avacyn, Angel of Hope, Rhystic Study, Arcane Signet, Keeper of the Accord, Vault of the Archangel, Godless Shrine, and an exotic Orchard. Maxim's opening hand contains Jace the Mind Sculptor, Ajani Mentor of Heroes, Rhystic Study, Cultivate, Flooded Strand, Command Tower, and an Isolated Chapel. Kelly gets to start this off. And land drops a Godless Shrine. Max land drops Isolated Chapel. And I land drop Overgrown Tomb. Hugo land drops a basic Mountain. Kelly land drops Exotic Orchard and casts Arcane Signet. Max land drops Flooded Strand and cracks it for an allowed Fountain tapped. I land drop Command Tower and cast Voyaging Satyr. Hugo land drops an island and casts Goblin Diplomats. Kelly land drops Vault of the Archangel and casts her commander, Alela Artful Trickster.
Wrinkles, pranks are child's play. My name's will topple kingdoms. Alela, Alela, ooh, 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 ooh. Passe.
Prends une bonne gorgée, Max, ça va passer.
Comment?
Max land drops a Command Tower and casts Soul Ring.
Puis qu'est-ce que je pourrais faire là qui serait brillant?
Pass.
He then casts Rhystic Study and pass. I then drop Reflecting Pool and cast my commander, Sidisi Brood Tyrant.
So we have a word for enemies to mutilated for military services. Furnitures.
Rhystic Study triggers for a card. Entering the battlefield, I mill Ramunap Excavator, Undead Ogre, and a Forest. Hugo then drops a Swamp and casts Chromatic Lantern. Kelly casts her own Rhystic Study.
Je vais rentrer dans le pain train. 2, 3. Rhystic Study, puis je vais payer ma taxe. Je vais faire
Ouais.
Going to combat, Alela attacks Max. Kelly then land drops Sunken Hollow before passing. Max then drops a Swamp and casts Gilded Lotus. He then casts Cultivate for a forest and an island, paying for the first study but not the second. At my upkeep, I cast Entomb. I put to graveyard Life from the Loam, and at my draw step, I dredge Life from the Loam instead of drawing, milling Ravenous Chupacabra, Gravespawn Sovereign, and a Soul Ring. I then drop Morphic Pool and head into combat. I send CDC and a zombie to Max. Attacking, I mill the other CDC, Takmor Salvage, and Grey Merchant of Asphodel. In second main, I cast Life from the Loam paying both taxes. I only grab my basic forest and pass. Hugo then drops a forest and casts Curse of Verbosity, paying both taxes and enchanting Max. Kelly then drops a Command Tower. She goes to combat, sending Alela to Max again, and a fairy token to me. Hugo's curse triggers. In second main, she casts Cold Clamp, and pass. Max then drops an island, and casts his commander, Atraxa, Praetor's Voice.
It's not a goal, but a process. The process of creating the perfect Phyrexia.
Oh, arrêtez de me faire jouer.
Kelly study triggers for a card. He then casts Swiftfoot Boots and equips them to Atraxa.
Je vais aller en phase de combat. À le Ast.
La
Et là,
célérité.
célérité.
On a de l'anglais de perfection ici.
For his combat, he sends Atraxa to me. In second main, Max casts Demonic Tutor. He may have tutored for doubling season. Maybe. On my turn, I go straight to combat, sending a zombie to Max and Sidisi to Kelly. I draw from the curse and then mill Watery Grave, Nyx Weaver, and my sweet Hydron Crab. Max blocks with Atraxa. In second main, I then drop a snow-covered island and cast Kissa and Geralf. Entering the battlefield, I mill Splendid Reclamation, Urborg, Doom Whisperer, and Cyclonic Rift. I then pass. Hugo has a pretty fast turn as he casts Mirari's Wake and pass. Kelly casts Warden of Evos Isle. She then casts Sephara Sky's Blade by tapping 4 flying creatures and paying a single white mana. On his turn, Max casts Doubling Season. He does not pay for Rhystic Study. Kelly reacts with Abjure, sacrificing a fairy.
Est-ce que je suis de retour dans vos faveurs, gang?
Bah, t'as quand même un problème, là, mais t'es comme le deuxième problème, tu sais. Pour ce que ça vaut, là.
Max then land drops Azorius Chancery, returning a basic to hand, and casts Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. He -3 Teferi, targeting Sephara. He head into combat, sending Atraxa to Kelly. At my draw step, I dredge Life from the Loam. I mill an island or run Frostfang in Field of the Dead. I then go to combat, sending 2 zombies to Teferi, 2 zombies to Max, and CDC to Kelly. I mill Reclamation Sage, a Swamp, and Altar of Dementia. Max blocks with Atraxa. In second main, I then drop a snow-covered island. I then cast Life from the Loam, paying 2 extra, to return Field of the Dead, Urborg, and an island to my hand. Hugo casts Pierre's Whim, naming himself as a friend and the others as foes. He grabs Temple of the False God, while Kelly sacrifices Cold Clamp and Max sacrifices Soul Ring. After that, he casts Theft of Dreams. He then drops Kitreya Triumph and casts 3 visits, getting a Cinder Glade. He then casts Rite of the Raging Storm, and pass. Kelly gets a 5/1 at her upkeep. She then drops an island, and casts Timna the Weaver. Heading into combat, the Elemental goes to Max and Alela to Hugo. The curse triggers, and then Timna triggers for 2 more. In second main, she casts Ghostly Prison.
Avec ma taxe pour jouer un Ghostly Prison. Leave me alone!
Max gets a 5/1 at his upkeep. He then land drops Exotic Archer, before casting Ajani, Mentor of Heroes. He +1 Ajani to put 3 +1/+1 counters on Atraxa. He follow it up with a Spike Weaver. He goes to combat, sending the Elemental to me and his commander to Hugo. At the end step, Atraxa proliferates. He then discards an island to end size. I get an Elemental at the upkeep and dredge my Life from the Loam at the draw step. I mill 2 forests and a Crypt of Agadim. I then drop a forest and Field of the Dead is now triggering on every land. I cast Gravespawn Sovereign from the graveyard with Kissa and Geralf, paying for Max's tax but not Kelly's. I tap 5 zombies to the Sovereign to bring back Reclamation Sage. Entering the battlefield, I destroy Max's Rhystic Study. I head into combat, sending CDC to Hugo and the Elemental to Max. He blocks with Atraxa, but me and Hugo get to draw from the curse. I mill Breeding Pool, Underrealm Lich, and Faltis Shadowcat Familiar. I discard Urborg to end size. Hugo land drops a Swamp. He then casts Beast Within, targeting the Swiftfoot Boots, to help me and Kelly deal with Atraxa. He then casts Psychic Possession, enchanting Kelly. He follow it up with the Commander's Sphere, not paying for Rhystic Study as he is now also drawing for it. He continues with Jared Cartelian True Hair. Entering the battlefield, Kelly becomes the Monarch. Kelly study trigger and she declines the draw. He finishes up with his own Ghostly Prison. For his combat, he sends the Elemental to Max. The curse triggers and Max blocks. Kelly then drops Prairie Stream. She then casts Avacyn, Angel of Hope. Now free to attack without loss, she full swings in Najani's direction. Max blocks the token to gain some life and Najani dies. At the end step, Kelly draws for Monarch and Hugo draws as well. She then discards to Endsize. Max then drops an island. He looks a bit at the board and casts Contagion Engine. Entering the battlefield, Max puts a -1/-1 on all of Kelly's creatures. Before going to combat, Hugo activates the Goblin Diplomat, forcing all of Maxim's creatures to attack if able. Max activates the engine to proliferate twice. He then goes to combat, and as 2 of his opponents have prisons, he full swings at me. Before blockers, Hugo kindly swords to Plowshare Atraxa. Max forgot to gain his 10 life. I block the beast with Gisa and Geralf and try to take out the Spike Weaver with multiple blocks. Reacting to blockers, Max activates the Spider to fog all combat damage. For my draw step, I dredge Dakmor Salvage. I mill Turntimber Sower and Bane of Progress. I then drop an island, triggering Field of the Dead. And then cast Eternal Witness. Entering the battlefield, I return Splendid Reclamation to my hand. It doesn't stay there for long as I cast the spell right away. It resolves and I return 7 lands from my graveyard to the battlefield, getting 7 zombies. I tap 5 zombies to return Oran Frostfang to my battlefield. Now ready for combat, I full swing in Max direction. I mill Lutz's Cobra, Sir Conrad the Grim and Kidrek Leviathan. The curse triggers on attack and the Oran Frostfang on damage, drawing me 8 cards. In second main, I cast Cryptbreaker before discarding 2 Endsize. I discard 4 lands, the Scarab God and Drana before passing. I plan on bringing back Scarab God before my next upkeep if everything goes well. Hugo casts Propaganda, and then Bident of Tassa. Going to combat, he sends the Elemental to Kelly and Goblin Diplomat to Max. In second main, Hugo casts Last One Standing. In reaction, I cast Swan Song. The spell is countered and Hugo gets a 2/2 bird. He then casts Crawl Space, and land drops a forest as his land for turn. He finishes off with Wilderness Reclamation. But before leaving the second main, I activate the Sovereign, tapping 5 zombies to bring back Bane of Progress to the battlefield. Entering, I destroy all artifacts and enchantments, putting 15 counters on the Bane. Kitty untaps and casts Supreme Verdict. In reaction, I tap 5 zombies to bring back Sir Conrad on my side. The board wipe then resolves and my opponents take 31 damage, 27 of which is coming from my board. Hugo dies in the process. Kitty then casts Windborn Muse, and for a combat step attacks me with Avacyn. She then passes. Max casts Sorin Grim Nemesis.
Je vais faire son +1, c'est reveal the top card of your library and put that card in your hand. Each opponent lose life equal to the
Hey, no!
Imagine-tu là? Oh my god, c'est 5. C'est bon.
He +1 Sorin, revealing Liliana Vess. He then follow it up with Jace the Mind Sculptor. He -1 Jace, targeting Avacyn. On my turn, I land drop Woodland Cemetery, getting a zombie. I then cast Avengal Lich. Using its ability, I cast Sir Conrad the Grim from my graveyard. I then cast the Scarab God. Conrad triggers on a creature leaving my graveyard. I cast Cryptbreaker from my grave, and then activate Scarab God to make a Gravespawn Sovereign token. I then do it again to return Gary to the battlefield. Reacting to its ETB, I tap 5 zombies to return Doom Whisperer to add 2 more devotion to my board. I then resolves Gary with exactly 11 devotion, winning the match. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If there's a deck you would like to see on this channel, make sure to tell me about in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps us a ton. Take care and we'll see you very soon.